What we're creating here is a subfascia and a fascia with a ventilation system. So I'll start sort of at the beginning here. This is my subfascia. I've installed vertically blocks, 16 inches on center, that are attached through the rafter tail. Between the blocks, which is here, and I have this line to keep everything level, I have a strip vent. So this is a ventilation where air is going to go in. Next, we're going to put a fascia on top of this. So our new subfascia and fascia system has a strip vent underneath, fascia on top. Air enters in and goes up under our cold roof. This shot here is just to show you we now have fascia board on, and our fascia board is over our vertical blocks and over our horizontal strip vent, which is to vent the eave. What I like to do is, and you can kind of see this here, is I like to drop this fascia down 1/4 inch, just so this fascia overhangs the strip vent and the verticals by roughly 1/4 inch. That's just a personal preference thing. I like to have that reveal there. As you can see, we're seaming the fascia together on the vertical blocking, so the vertical blocking is here to nail the fascia. So this is just a vertical shot of the assembly we just spoke of. You have your vertical blocking, which is 16 inches on center. You have your fascia board, your sub fascia board, which is behind this that you can't really see anymore. And then down inside, you have the strip venting, which allows air to enter in through under the fascia board, enter into the cold roof cavity. We're creating a cold roof cavity, so it's not an attic ventilation or a cathedral ceiling ventilation. It's a cold roof above the roof deck. So it'll enter in through the eave, travel through the channel of the cold roof, and up and out through the ridge venting. So we removed the cedar roof shingles, and what I'm sitting on now is referred to as skip sheathing. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be installing a cold roof. So what's going to happen next here is we're going to install 1/2-inch plywood, and then vertical, or actually, excuse me, 1/2-inch plywood, then ice shield, a continuous bituminous product on the whole roof, and then vertical 1x4s and horizontal 1x4s to create a full ventilated, what we call cold roof, which air will enter at the eave and exit through the ridge. So let's get to the next step of this. This is the first step of our cold roof. We discussed earlier that there's skip sheathing directly over the rafters on this roof, which there is, and we've installed plywood directly over our skip sheathing. The next step that is going to happen is we're going to install a continuous self-adhering bituminous product directly over the plywood, and then our cold roof, which will be vertical skip sheathing, 16 inches on center, running vertical from the eave to the ridge, and horizontal skip sheathing, which is going to run appropriately for wood shingles for a 5-inch exposure. We've installed our continuous self-adhering bitumen sheet, okay, also referred to as ice shield, weather watch. This could have been felt paper, this could have been EPDM. I like both EPDM and self-adhering bituminous membrane, such as this one. And what we did here is, so the second step of the cold roof is the underlayment, which in this case is the self-adhering. The third step is the vertical purlins, we'll call it, okay? The vertical purlins. As you can see, they're roughly 16 inches on center. They're on the center of the rafters, so they're attached. They're not completely nailed off yet, but they're attached through the rafters. And a quick important note about a cold roof is, you can see here, we've raised up the rake and the gable board to accommodate the new thickness of the roof. And the additional thickness of this cold roof is 2 inches. So we have a 1/2 inch for our plywood, we have 3/4 of an inch for the vertical purlin, and then we have 3/4 of an inch for the horizontal skip sheathing, which you're going to see next. Now this will allow, this channel right here will allow our air, which enters down at the eave, to travel through this bay and up and out through the ridge vent. Our horizontal purlins, or skip sheathing, which will be next, will allow lateral airflow to vent, in this case, our wood shingle. So, lastly, we talked about the vertical purlins that were installed over the rafters, and we've now installed our horizontal skip sheathing, which is installed appropriate for a 5-inch exposure. In this case, the shingle is an 18-inch taper sawn shingle, Alaskan yellow with a 5/8 butt. So this skip sheathing has been placed to accommodate that 5-inch exposure. Now, again, just to go over the airflow aspect of this cold roof, this assembly is in place to accommodate for airflow to travel from the eave up to the ridge, and these vertical purlins accommodate for that, and then this horizontal skip sheathing accommodates for lateral airflow between the cedar roof to vent the roof. So air comes in through the eave, exits through the ridge, cooling off the space, and then the airflow laterally amongst the entire cedar roof happens as a result of this skip sheathing. So this is the cold roof. First step was plywood. Second step was self-adhering bitumen. Third step, vertical purlins. Fourth step, horizontal skip sheathing. Next step will be cedar wood shingles. Enters through my soffit vent, travels up through my cold roof, and exits out through my ridge vent.